Good morning. Happy Monday, you guys. It is Monday, January 25th, 2021. Isn't that crazy? I keep writing 2019 for some reason. I don't know why. I remember when I was in elementary school, like you had to write the date, right? And then at some point I was writing checks, and the check writing, the date was always off. Anyways, it's good to see you guys. I'm glad that you're here. And today, what I want to talk about is rituals. Rituals was the idea that came to me. And rituals is something that I've always been a bit fascinated with. And when I really start thinking about what a ritual is, it's really just a habit, right? It's something that we form. And I looked up the definition before I came on: a religious or solemn ceremony consisting of a series of actions performed according to a prescribed order. And I got thinking about it and I'm like, well, what's the difference between a ritual and like a habit, right? And I honestly don't know the answer to that. But I do know that there's something very sacred about a ritual, and it doesn't have to be overly thought. So, like, I have a ritual when I come into my room, into my studio when I'm about to film. I have lights in here. I've got these big filming lights, and they're actually my lights in here. And when I turn them on, I know I'm on. Like, it's time to work. It's time for the day. And I know some writers, because I have a writing background, they'll light a candle in order to create that trigger, to create that ritual. I have a ritual when I put my makeup on. Like, I have a very specific order that it goes into. But it's not necessarily a habit, because when you're doing the habit, it's going to be I feel like a habit sometimes is just out of like a need to, as opposed to paying homage to something. So when we look at rituals, they can be very sacred and they can be really, really simple. I know that there are really great ways to tap into your spiritual side for the ritual piece of it. And I'm still learning. So I would love to hear from you guys and hear what your rituals are and what really lights you up. And I think a ritual it's not only going to be to pay homage, but it's also pay homage to yourself, right? Like, every morning and every evening I meditate and I journal a bit. And it's more than a habit, because it's become a ritual of connecting on another level, right? Um, I feel like candles is a really big one. Darren and I have done some really cool rituals where we've like written letters and then burned them, so using the different elements of the earth. Um, Salt, I know, is another really good cleansing ritual. I have a friend of mine who's going to come on the show later this week. She's an animal communicator, and she also does a lot with different tools. And I'm really excited to really dig in, because she works a lot with crystals and sage and all of those pieces that in my years of exploration, especially these last couple of years, I've really discovered how other people use different different pieces of the earth, right? I have one really good friend of mine who's a shaman, and she uses cornmeal and sage and San Paulo, right? So there's all these different pieces. I have a tonic here that I got. Here, I'll grab it. I've got this. It's so funny. And I've seen other shaman use shaman water made by the same people, but I have this. It's patchouli water. I got it in Florida at a Publix, near my mom's Publix, when she was still with us. And my aunt and I, like, years and years ago, found this, and we were like, wow. And it's got actual patchouli in it, if you can see, which, if you guys know what patchouli is kind of like a hippie cologne water. I've always really loved it. But it's got actually the root in it. And my aunt and I found it years and years ago. We're like, wow, that's so cool. So when my mom passed away, we were in the same Publix. And we're like, we wonder if we could find that water again. And we asked the entire store, and the store manager came out. There were 2 bottles left. They had just they hadn't ordered it in years, and it was like these 2 bottles were like sitting there waiting for us, like way back in the back of the shelf. And it was so cool. I keep it on my desk, and I don't use it very often, but it is great, because you can just put it, little bit of cologne, and I use it for rituals. Usually when I pull an angel card or something, I'll use a little bit. But it's so funny how things like that happen, and it's just so cool to see. So, when you find little things like that, go for it, buy it. Later in the week, I'll show you my sage. And I used to always buy big bundles of sage, and I'd burn the big bundle, and then my friend who is the shaman that uses the cornmeal, she showed me how you could just break it off. And I'm like, wait a minute, you just break it off? Like, I love that we can learn from each other, right? Like, what a silly thing. So we smudge the house. We call it smudging. I do it once in a while, especially when I'm doing really deep leadership work in the house. And Darren and the dogs are, in another part of the house. I'll smudge just to clear it, and then we use salt in the corners to purify in the room. So I love using the elements for that. And then back to just basic rituals. I mean, those rituals can just be about what you do with your hair and how you eat, just giving a little bit of a thank to the food that you have, and just really coming from a place of gratitude. So I would love to hear what your rituals are, you guys. And it's kind of going to be a theme this week, so it'll keep coming up. But for me, I've always looked for guidance, and I've not always looked inside of myself. I've usually looked to outside sources, which are great. And I've used cards and divination and muscle testing, things like that, and used other people, of course. I think that we all hold a lot of wisdom for each other, inside of each other. So I would be honored if you guys just shared your rituals in the comments below. And just a side note, if you can't post, all you have to do is go to StreamYard and give StreamYard access. So really, I'll tell you, it's a safe environment. I love StreamYard. If you guys have any live streaming needs, it's really great. There's a free version of it. So if you want to post comments and you can't, just give StreamYard your rights. Just like those silly games, right? It's like, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I can't wait to hear what kind of rituals you guys are up to. Maybe we can create something really special here in the mornings. Okay, have a great Monday. If you're in Southern California, stay safe. It is very, very, very moody out there. And anywhere else you guys are in the world, stay warm. Love you. Mwah. Bye for now.